Is this typical of people who work at DHS? This is an asylum and immigration officer who is posting these, frankly, pro-genocidal slogans and images on the day that Israelis are being slaughtered in their beds. What have you done about this?
Your question to suggest that that is emblematic of the men and women of the Department of Homeland Security is despicable.
I'm sorry, what have you done? This person works for the Department of Homeland Security. Have you fired her? You have employees who are celebrating genocide, and you are saying it's despicable for me to ask the question? Has she been fired?
That individual has been placed on administrative leave.
So she's not been fired.
Well, that was our next guest, confronting President Biden's Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas over anti-Semitic comments supporting Hamas posted by a Homeland Security officer on social media, as Rich just mentioned. Missouri Senator Josh Hawley is a Republican on the Homeland Security Committee. Senator Hawley, thanks for being on.
Good morning.
I want to get your reaction to that back and forth and you know, what you took away from that exchange.
Well, what I took away, Brett, is that this individual is still on the payroll of DHS, which means that she's still getting paid with U.S. taxpayer dollars. Here's what's equally concerning. She is an asylum and immigration officer who boasted on LinkedIn that she handles many, many refugee cases. I asked the secretary, how many cases has she handled? Has she handled cases involving Jewish applicants? Has she handled cases involving applicants who may have ties to Hamas? And he wouldn't answer me. I said, have you conducted a review of all of her cases? I think the answer to that is no. I mean, this is really extraordinary to have this kind of a person on the payroll deciding these critical cases, and DHS doesn't appear to be doing anything about it.
Senator, you've grilled Secretary Mayorkas before on border questions. I mean, there's no love lost there. I think you've called for him to step aside. After that exchange, he had this response. Take a listen.
Perhaps he does not know that I am the child of a Holocaust survivor. Perhaps he does not know that my mother lost almost all her family at the hands of the Nazis. And so I find his adversarial tone to be entirely misplaced. I do not expect an apology, but I did want to say what I just articulated.
Did it change your perception after he said that?
I find his evasiveness totally, completely unacceptable. And frankly, the idea that he would try to insulate himself from accountability. We're talking about people employed at his department. We are talking about people who are under his charge and his responsibility to the American public. And yes, to Jewish Americans who, frankly, Brett, fear for their lives. And to know that there is a pro-terrorist, pro-Hamas sympathizer making immigration and asylum decisions, and to have no answer to that, to have no response, to have taken no meaningful action, I think is totally inexcusable. And he clearly had no answers yesterday.